Imagine a world where you have the power to turn any challenge into an opportunity, where the storms of life don't bring you down but make you stronger. Welcome to the world of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time and offers a unique perspective on life and happiness. On this journey, we will explore the teachings of the Stoics, who show us how to find serenity amid chaos, how to shape our minds to face adversity, and how to embrace the present with gratitude. Get ready to discover the power of living a Stoic life and transforming challenges into triumphs. In the ancient city of Cyprus, in the year 300 BC, lived a prosperous merchant known as Zeno. His wealth was renowned in the region. However, during a perilous journey from Phoenicia to Piraeus, a cruel twist of fate intervened and his ship sank, taking with it all his valuable cargo. What happened was entirely beyond Zeno's control and anyone else's, and the wealthy merchant suddenly found himself plunged into deep misery. Now imagine yourself in Zeno's shoes, facing this sudden turn of events. Imagine how you would feel if all the work of your life were suddenly ruined for no apparent reason. Would you experience anger, sadness, feel like life and fate are conspiring against you? For most people, these would be natural reactions. However, the story of Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, shows us that a small shift in mindset can have a lasting and significant impact on the future. The core of Stoicism lies in acceptance and indifference to circumstances. After studying the works of Socrates and other great philosophers, Zeno developed and taught the principles of Stoicism. According to Zeno's teachings, while we have little control over what happens to us externally, our ability to manage our reactions remains within our grasp, and that's where we should focus our efforts. Instead of lamenting over spilled milk, or in the mentioned case, the loss of goods, Zeno advocated the importance of maintaining composure, staying calm and balanced despite adversities. Today, Stoics are often seen as individuals of great inner strength who do not succumb to emotional extremes, such as outbursts of anger or anxiety attacks. However, the original concept of Stoicism goes beyond that. Stoicism is more than a description of emotionless individuals. It is a way of perceiving and understanding the world, a timeless way of life that has endured for centuries. Stoic philosophy can be applied to contemporary situations with the same effectiveness as it was applied thousands of years ago, and its benefits remain profoundly impactful. Stoicism empowers us to process negative emotions arising from unwanted experiences and transform them into thoughts that provide us with a unique perspective on the world. Perspective is key, and every individual has their own, resulting in various ways of seeing the world. As Stoics gathered and shared their philosophy in public spaces, their ideology became widely recognized. They believed that Stoic principles could benefit anyone, so it made no sense to hide this knowledge behind the walls of a school or within the confines of a palace. As a result, people from all social classes, from slaves to emperors, had the opportunity to learn and adopt Stoicism in their lives, and many did. Among the world's most notable Stoics are Epictetus, whose name means acquired and who was once a slave; Seneca, a renowned statesman; and Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the most powerful men in history. The early Stoics practiced what they preached, avoiding all forms of segregation and actively fighting against inequality. They even coined the word cosmopolitan, denoting the idea of being a citizen of the world, reflecting their commitment to unity and equality among all people. When we hear that word today, we think of cities like New York, Toronto, Dubai, and London. This was the kind of unity and coexistence the Stoics promoted. Even in a time when this approach was not widely accepted, women could freely study philosophy and become Stoics in their own right. So why do so many people adopt Stoicism as a way of life? In a world filled with unforeseen events, emotions can often be a hindrance. In fact, we don't usually get sad when bad things happen to us, but when unexpected events occur. Rain, for example, has its positives, as it helps water our plants, provides water for livestock, and keeps the temperature cool and moist. However, when we're caught off guard by a dark cloud outside, without an umbrella, it's rarely a pleasant experience. So why don't we start crying when it starts raining? It's because even though the situation is less than ideal, we understand that rain is something normal. It's inevitable. We can't control it, but we know that eventually it will pass. Stoicism teaches us to accept something similar. We should expect that everything bad that can happen will happen. Imagine the worst outcome and be content in knowing what could happen. One of the most well-known Stoic exercises is voluntary discomfort, designed to increase a sense of gratitude. Sleep on the floor, take cold showers, or eat nothing but potatoes for a few days. This practice helps us understand that no matter how tough things may be, you will survive and potentially thrive if your mindset is right. Enduring these uncomfortable situations indirectly prepares our mindset for future misfortunes. With the current state of the world, where advertising influences us every second, we are led to believe that if we don't have a certain object, certain appearance, or earn a certain amount of money, we will never be happy. This message is now more important than ever. We come into the world knowing nothing. We grow up learning things at home and school, and by observing the world, these three sources of knowledge teach us in different ways. But the question is, do we need to internalize all this knowledge? If we do, we can unwittingly set unrealistic expectations for our lives, ultimately leaving us disappointed and dissatisfied. This is not a proper way to decide to live. You should focus on improving yourself through your own abilities. Attaching any external hope or secondary attachment to the actions we undertake almost always leads to disappointment. Most of the time, we end up trying to fill that void with external things, spending all our money on a car, a house, or even starting a family. We do all this for their external value and not for their internal value. Stoicism teaches that if you view life this way, you're putting your happiness in the hands of external forces that can always fail. Cars break down, natural disasters happen, and divorce rates rise. But even the free things in life have a cost, the cost of space, both physical and mental. As Seneca wrote, learning to live with less will create space in your life for things that truly matter. We should base our happiness on our intrinsic value as human beings, not on what we have or can acquire physically. We should choose to keep a cool head no matter what life offers us because, despite what we want, we have no control over the things that happen to us, but we have complete control over how we react to them. That's the dichotomy of control, the most important principle of Stoic philosophy. Stoics teach us to learn to separate what we control from what we cannot, to determine our worth not by the things we don't control, but by the things we do. Striving to achieve goals is a good characteristic, but collapsing when those things don't go your way is, from a Stoic perspective, useless. Stoics teach that you should judge the success of your work based on the amount of effort you put in, not on the outcome of your external hopes. Trust the process. Think of a person who has worked hard at their job for the past 6 months. Now they believe they deserve a promotion, so they approach their boss with their performance report. The boss thanks them, doesn't give them the promotion, and they go home thinking they must be a disaster at work. They don't take into account that the boss could be angry, that someone else might be more qualified at the moment, or that the company is losing money and can't afford it. They don't know the reason, but they're still upset. If they had simply appreciated the quality of the performance report they delivered and continued doing what they were doing to earn the promotion they wanted, they might have been happier overall. This change in mindset is crucial. A true Stoic doesn't measure their success by the financial gain of their company or job, but by the peace of mind that comes with things that no money can buy. Stoicism has 4 virtues: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Wisdom is being able to separate the internal from the external and choose our reaction to the things that happen to us. As Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and that space is our power to choose the response. Courage for them is to persist and resist. Temperance is to do more with less, say more with less. While Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk vie for the top of the Forbes list, Stoics believe that the limit for wealth should be simply having the essentials and then having just enough. Justice is the most important of all virtues. It signifies that no one should harm another because we are all born for others, to do good to one another, not to ourselves. Nelson Mandela was one of the most famous African leaders in the world. As he fought against apartheid, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, where he remained for 27 years before finally being released. When he was released from prison, he was elected president of South Africa. Many people thought he would brutally punish all those who had anything to do with his imprisonment, but that was not the case. While in prison, Mandela read the works of Marcus Aurelius and learned many of the core values of Stoicism. Instead of calling for the heads of wrongdoers, he urged his people to forgive and rebuild. He insisted that the past was already out of control, and the only thing they could do was move forward. That's the Stoic way. In current medicine, Stoicism is the foundation of procedures such as rational emotive behavior therapy and logotherapy. The former helps patients identify negative thinking patterns that are causing emotional and behavioral problems. This allows us to logically question the reasoning behind these negative thoughts. By realizing that many of them are unfounded, you can replace them with more productive and healthy beliefs. Logotherapy, on the other hand, is based on the Stoic principle that humans are driven by a purpose. Even in the darkest situations, we can fill our lives with meaning and happiness simply by discovering what that purpose is. We need to reshape our way of thinking, leave the old behind, and embrace the new. To trade problems for happiness, we must practice self-esteem. By redirecting our definition of value to things we can control, we can stop fixating on things beyond our control. That is the key to a more fulfilling life. Stoicism helps us navigate the storms of the past and present in calmer waters. And if the ship does sink and we find ourselves sinking, we have the peace of mind knowing that we have lived a full life. Always remember, everything happens for a reason. In conclusion, Stoicism is more than an ancient philosophy. It's a timeless guide for facing life's challenges with courage, wisdom, and serenity. Through accepting what we cannot control and focusing on what is within our reach, we can transform adversities into opportunities and find true happiness in our lives. If you've enjoyed this exploration of Stoicism and wish to continue learning about this inspiring philosophy, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. There, you'll find more content on Stoicism as well as a variety of topics related to personal development and the pursuit of wisdom. Subscribe now to not miss any of our future videos and continue your journey toward a more meaningful and resilient life with Stoic teachings. Together, we can weather any storm with serenity and inner strength. Thank you for watching and for being part of our community.